Okay, so today is day 47 of Bible in 90 Days, or What's in the Bible, where we're reading through the entire Bible just to get an idea of what the Bible talks about, what's actually in the Bible, because if you ask, I'm sure, a bunch of people what they think is in there, you might come up with different answers. So I thought it was good for us to just to go through the whole thing ourselves and see, what's in there. So today we're reading from Proverbs 7 to 20. Proverbs 7, as we said, the Proverbs are, a bunch of writings that King Solomon, wrote because he was the wisest king that ever lived, because God gave him the wisdom, and people came from all around the world just to hear, his wisdom and, see what he had to say. So we have some of that stuff, written here for us that we can read and benefit from. So it's a great book. Starting yesterday, it was still really much of an introduction, Proverbs 1 to 6, about how good wisdom is and what people should do, as far as wisdom is concerned, how they should seek for wisdom, etc. And it continues today. Proverbs 7, 8, and 9 is almost like the final introduction before we get into the actual Proverbs. So Proverbs 7, encouragement to keep wise and staying away from adulteresses. Proverbs 8, wisdom as a person calling out to everybody and the benefits of listening to wisdom and, going forward, with that. Proverbs 9, invitation of wisdom, and again, the benefits of following. Then what happens is from Proverbs 10 to 20, what we're going to do today is slightly different, because I started this morning, I was like, okay, let me try and summarize all the proverbs, just as I was doing from Proverbs 1 to 9. But the proverbs are so dense, so it's as if every word means something. So to summarize proverbs, you would almost end up having to just write down the entire proverbs again, because it's like a sentence at a time, and each sentence is a different subject or a different thought or whatever. So it then becomes very hard to say summarize 12 chapters or whatever, because it's quite dense. So I would really suggest that you go and read Proverbs for yourself. I would suggest you go and read the whole Bible for yourself. But hey, whilst we're in Proverbs, if you want to just get a feel of it, then please read that. And theologians say Proverbs is not necessarily absolutes everywhere, but there were general truths that were being said. But still, whether they're absolute truths or general truths or whatever, they're still good to to follow. And most of them as well, there's no need for explanation, so it's really hard to summarize if there is nothing to kind of explain or give some background to, because it's just a sentence at a time. So what I'll do is I will just read maybe 5 or 6, or depending on the chapter, proverbs that I found in a chapter, that I thought, that's worth sharing. Everything else in there is worth sharing, but these are the ones that stuck out to me, or the ones that I've read before and I've always thought, that's interesting, or that really helps me. So we'll start with Proverbs 10. So Proverbs 10, it says, we've got verse 2. Verse 2, treasures gained by wickedness do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. Verse 9, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever follows perverse ways will be found out. Verse 19, when words are many, transgression is not lacking, but the prudent are restrained in speech. Verse 23, doing wrong is like sport to a fool, but wise conduct is a pleasure to a person of understanding. That's verse 23. Verse 26, like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so are the lazy to their employers. Then we get chapter 11, verse 7. When the wicked people die, their hope perishes, and the expectation of the godless comes to nothing. Verse 12. Whoever belittles another lacks sense, but an intelligent person remains silent. Verse 13. A gossip goes about telling secrets, but one who is trustworthy in spirit keeps confidence. Verse 14. Where there is no guidance, a nation falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. Verse 21. Be assured the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will escape. Verse 22. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without good sense. Verse 24. Some give freely, yet grow all the richer. Others withhold what is due and only suffer want. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 9. Better to be despised and have a servant than to be self-important and lack food. Verse 10. The righteous know the needs of their animals, but the mercy of the wicked is cruel. Verse 11. Those who till their land will have plenty of food, but those who follow worthless pursuits have no sense. Verse 16. Fools show their anger at once, but the prudent ignore insult. Verse 25. Anxiety weighs down the human heart, but a good word cheers it up. Proverbs 13, verse 7. Some pretend to be rich, yet have nothing. Others pretend to be poor, yet have great wealth. Verse 11. Wealth hastily gotten will dwindle, but those who gather little by little will increase it. Verse 20. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Verse 24. Those who spare the rod spoil their children, or those who spare the rod hate their children, but those who love them are diligent to discipline them. Chapter 14, verse 12. There is a way that seems right to a person, but its end is the way of death. Verse 15. The simple believe everything, but the clever consider their steps. Chapter 15, verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. Verse 11. Sheol and Abaddon lie open before Lord. How much more human hearts? Verse 16. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than treasure and great trouble with it. Verse 17. Better is a dinner of vegetables where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. Proverbs 16, verse 4. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Verse 8. Better is a little with righteousness than large income with injustice. Verse 9. The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. Verse 25. Sometimes there is a way that seems to be right, but in the end, it is the way to death. Verse 33. The lot is cast into the lap, but the decision is the Lord's alone. Chapter 17, verse 1. Better is a dry morsel with quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. Verse 9. One who forgives an affront fosters friendship, but one who dwells on disputes will alienate a friend. Verse 10. A rebuke strikes deeper into a discerning person than 100 blows to a fool. Verse 28. Even fools who keep silent are considered wise. When they close their lips, they are deemed intelligent. Proverbs 18, verse 2. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing personal opinion. Verse 17. The one who first states a case seems right until the other comes and cross-examines. Proverbs 19, verse 6. Many seek the favor of the generous, and everyone is a friend to a giver of gifts. Verse 15. Laziness brings on deep sleep. An idle person will suffer hunger. Verse 17. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will be repaid in full. Verse 21. The human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. Verse 22. What is desirable in a person is loyalty, and it is better to be poor than to be a liar. Proverbs 20, today's last chapter. Verse 9. Who can say, I have made my heart clean, I am pure from sin? Verse 12. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Verse 13. Do not love sleep, or you will come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you will have plenty of bread. Verse 14. Bad, bad, says the buyer, then goes away and boasts. Verse 22. Do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will help you. Verse 24. All our steps are ordered by the Lord. How then can we understand our own ways? So as you can see, because it's just one sentence at a time, and it's a thought in itself in the whole verse. If you've got 30 verses or whatever, it's 30 thoughts within that chapter. So it becomes very hard to just summarize and say, this is the main thrust, because it's going on in very different directions. So I've just kind of picked off the ones that I like there. So I think the delivery is a bit, jittery. So what I'll probably do tomorrow is I'll highlight the, the Proverbs that I like, or that I think, I can share with you guys, then so that when I'm reading them, in the evening or whatever, it'll be much quicker to to read through. But basically, that's what the Proverbs are saying. It's just wisdom after. It's like tweets, basically, just wisdom after wisdom after wisdom after wisdom, and general truths that we can learn from as to how this this world operates. So hopefully that's helpful. I'll see you guys tomorrow as we continue and finish actually the book of Proverbs.